Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Let me see who was here first. Uh, Palma Lee Stevens. Thank you so much for being here first. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Hello, Sonia Johnson, Lydia Washington, Gwendolyn Daniels, Sharon Augustine, Teddy Bongo, uh, Antoinette Kennedy, Brenda Gray, Yulibi ND, uh, Paulette Claw, Elaine Parker, Annie Bullard, Emerald Derrick, Maurice Brown, Mama Jane, Mary H., Francilia Mosley, Novi D. Am I starting to repeat myself yet? Emilio Rodriguez. Okay. And a host of friends and other. Marcy Foreman, well, thank you for all the hearts. I am very touched. So, just so you all know that it wasn't my imagination, let me take this away for a second. Okay. All right, take a look at this here. It says we are currently experiencing an issue uploading Google Slides in the studio. As a workaround for the moment, you can download the slides and upload the file in the studio. Our team is looking into it and we hope to resolve it shortly. Well, I'm actually doing a screen share, but that's another way to do it. I couldn't figure out how to download the files. Um, I'm so used to doing it. Well, anyway, who cares about all the technical stuff? The thing is, we got to work around. It's not exactly convenient because if I need to reference yesterday's slides, then that becomes an issue. So I'll just try not to depend on yesterday. Okay. That was oh really? Sharon Skinner is celebrating a birthday. Well, good. Let's have a little salsa for that, shall we? And thank you for the super chat. Okay. And hit it. Okay. Happy birthday and many, many happy returns of the day. Okay. And let me get rid of that. All right. So, what's the bad news? I'll get to it. Unfortunately, I seem to have a lot to cover today. So, I may not see as much of the comments, but I'll do my best. Okay. And Elaine Parker, thank you for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay. All right, we're good. We're good. So I'm going to just hide me. You know, the other thing is my mic keeps going out. So let me know and I'll switch it back over to the other one. It's so funny. I'm switching back and forth to the mic connection, and I don't do anything special. It's just as if it goes out with one, I just switch it to the other. Why that's happening, I don't know. But every time they do an update for the software, something always gets weird. Let's see, everyone, it's been a while. Go back and forth to Orlando to check my mommy. Please wrap her in prayers. Keep up the good work, Baron. Well, thank you, Iris Demonias. Demonia, not demonias. I don't know why I'm making that plural, but thank you so much for being here tonight. And also, thank you for sharing that with us. And all the best to your mom. And of course, we will extend our prayers. What's that? Sadly, our dear Sonia Johnson has lost a great nephew who was only 19. My goodness, I hate to hear stuff like that. That is a tragedy. My goodness, only 19. Yeah, it always affects me the most. And the younger, the more it affects me. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say that. Um, it's just one of those things with life. But yeah, all the best to Sonia Johnson and her family. And thank you for that, Lydia Johnson, Lydia Washington. And thank you for the 23 months membership, Iris Demonia. Okay. All right. Now, oh, that's what I see. I'm doing this a different way. So to go to the next slide, oh, God. I'll get through this. I'll get through this. Um, I got to do something. All right, there we go. So to go to the next slide, I have to extend myself to another screen. I say to myself, these are first world problems. We will get through this. But yeah, they're going to fix that glitch with the whatever it is, and then things will be back to normal. I pray. But right now, they are working my nerves with this. It's been going pretty smooth, though, I think. Okay. And oh, see, I keep doing it. I got to remember to go over here to do that. Oh, deep breath. All right. Now, there we go. I was able to switch to another screen. Okay. So, Ministry of Hacks. We're going to start off with him early tonight. He, of course, has a, what do you call that? A TikTok account. And he has been on Willie's case. I don't think anyone can see this as a success, he says, right? Prince William's documentary branded object failure amid mixed reviews. And of course, being a failure for William comes natural. And I'm going to share some more about that with you later. But the documentary did not do so well. They lost 900,000 viewers. They had approximately 2.5 million viewers, right? They lost 900,000, leaving them 1.5 million left. So it was just under the 2.5 mark. And a huge portion of that, what is that? Is that 40% of the people tuned out? Is my math correct? I think that's 40%. Well, just about 40%. 40% of the people tuned out. I mean, and the rest of them, just imagine how many people, I do this myself, put on something to stream or watch or whatever, and then I walk away from it and I forget it's on. I wonder how many of those 1.5 million people took a phone call or washed their hair or just went to the supermarket. I wasn't thinking anything else about Willie. Anyway, so let me play his little sound bite here. Okay, and all right, to you, sir.
Oh, yeah. Comments are open. Let me know what you think.
Oh,
Success or failure? Let's jump straight into it. You know the score. Comments are open. Would love your opinion. So, Prince William's documentary on the homeless drops on Wednesday, with the first part being shown, and most digital media outlets are actually being quite constructive with their analysis. Newsweek are probably more truthful than others in branding it not a success. Firstly, in the slot, ITV lost 900,000 viewers from that slot. So it received 900,000 viewers less than the traditional program in that slot. From a population of 60 million in the UK, losing 1 million viewers is a big deal. So that probably shows you how much appetite the public has to listen to this guy. Secondly, on camera, William was asked by a fellow volunteer if he was trying to get out of doing any work. And you know, that is a theme around William in everything he does. People are questioning his work ethic on a daily basis. And for that moment to be captured on camera, I just think probably says it all. It's Friday, the weekend's in sight. I've watched it. I think it's a failure. Comments are open. Let me know what you think.
all right. Thank you, Ministry of Hacks. And oh, we have another birthday. Happy birthday, Novi D. And many happy returns of the day. Thank you so much for your continued support on Royal Sussex. All right. And so take a look there. Newsweek. Prince William documentary branded object failure amid mixed reviews. Gloucestershire, uh, Good Morning Britain fans switch off comments made about Prince William. Well, many Good Morning Britain fans said the program was unwatchable. Good Morning Britain viewers say they struggled to watch on Monday as two royal experts gave their opinion on comments made by Prince William this week. William publicly named Harry for the first time in what is believed to be in 6 years, while speaking in a new documentary about their mother, Princess Diana. Again, failure. Failure. Object failure. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, abject, not object, abject failure. Now, Marie Claire, Prince William asked if he was trying to escape work during the new documentary. Well, that's right. Would that be art imitating life? I guess not. I mean, making documentaries is an art form, but for William, trying to escape work is a real thing, and it's been a persistent problem for him. So yeah, when Prince William, I'm sorry, when the Prince of Wales attempted to sneak away for a chat, he was met with a knowing, oh, you're trying to escape work. I'm watching you, from a fellow kitchen worker. After lots of laughs, he suggested he'd pitch in with drinks or catch up duty. Uh, I'm sorry, catch up duty during the event. Isn't that something? Yeah, you see that? A couple of paragraphs down. You've got enough hands in here anyway, don't you? William, who wore a white apron over his green sweater, remarked during one scene, I might go over there and have a natter. Uh huh. In other words, he was trying to sneak away from work, as per usual. You see, even with all of the fancy editing that goes into these videos, it still makes him come across looking very smug and very out of touch. In other words, the real Willie somehow manages to seep through. And there we go. Broadcast, which I think is like an online something. Anyway, they said Wednesday, Prince William's Homeless documentary takes in 1.5 million. So again, in that time slot, on any other day, they would have about 2.5 million views, right? 2,500,000 viewers. But it was something about this documentary that drove just under 1 million people away. They were just like, I don't need this. Not today, Satan. And they just tuned out. So that means that I guess they lost money. Yeah, I'm going to guess that means they lost money. Lex says is why William moved the Earthflop from the UK. They used their royal status as a what is that? And as a notoriety to get into spaces outside of the UK, but it's apathy in the UK. Here. There is a lot of apathy for the royals, even though they would have people believe that they are so popular and so many people are tuned into them. Nothing could be further from the truth. People tolerate, ignore, or just passively accept the presence of the royal family. But for the average person in the United Kingdom, their existence is not something that is really thought about from one day to the next, right? It's like having a coworker that you've worked with for a long time. And let's say that particular coworker quits or leaves, gets fired, whatever. After a while, you forget that person ever worked there, right? You might come across some document or a list of something and see their names. And it's interesting how much time has gone by and you haven't even thought of that person. I'm going to imagine it's a lot like that with the royals, except they're on the global stage. And if you go outside of the UK, the odd question may come about, have you ever seen the royal family? And then at that point, it's like, oh, yeah, we do have a royal family, don't we? Oh, yeah, that's right. But, it's like anything else. They're just there. And there are some people who don't even know who the governor of their state is. I mean, there are 50 states in these United States. And sometimes people don't know who their governor is, who their senator is, who the mayor is. A lot of times people just don't know. They're not bothering to keep up with it. So it's a different kind of thing, surely. But still, it's interesting how you can just kind of throw stuff like that out of your mind. So they have notoriety, but it's a very strange thing. It's like they're always there, but then again, they're not, I think. Anyway, thank you so much, Lex, for your comment. And let's see. Go to the next slide. There we go. Now, what do I mean by this? Oh, wait, what's that? Earthflop got a BAFTA without proper viewing numbers because William used his influence. I remember that. That was what a couple. That was that the one for Boston where they got the award for no good reason. Him using his and didn't the person from BAFTA didn't she go and work for the Royal Foundation or something like that? Also, wasn't there some type of royal honor or whatever given to that lady that was running the BAFTA? Oh, it's all kind of running together on me, but I know it was like some kind of shadiness with that. But thank you again. Okay. So, BBC viewers switch off the Earthshot Prize minutes into the show. That's why I said it happened before. This has happened before, where people have switched off William. Now, they've switched off this back in 2022, and here it is 2024. And what happens? William is still being switched off. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see this. It was Boston. Right. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Glad I caught that. Boring. Oh, what's that? Joyce Anderson says they should have fine tune. Oh, the bots to chime in. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Okay. So, and take a look. The Mirror and the Express. BBC fans complain minutes into Earthshot Prize at hypocrisy of Prince William's award show. Prince William's Environmental Award, the Earthshot Prize, saw 5 environmental solutions honored with $1 million each to further their sustainability work. The BBC viewers, Earthshot Prize, repairing our planet. The show saw 5. Okay. All right. So let me go to the next slide. Okay. I think that all right. I'm just going to stay with it. I think something is out of order with my slides, but we'll just stay with it. This happened on Family Feud. And my goodness, wasn't it funny? If you haven't seen it by now, I don't know if it's on YouTube or not. I saw it on Twitter. But the question was things that you know about Prince Harry. And the first answer, and the one with the most, answers surveyed, married to Meghan Markle, Princess Diana's son. He's a redhead. He's a prince of duh. They didn't know what prince he was, most of them, but they knew he was a prince. And obviously, he's a hottie. And the last one, balding. Now, I always pretend like I just don't see it because Prince Harry, he transcends his hairline. Yeah, he transcends his hairline. But let me say this. One of the people told, oh gosh, what is his name? The host. Anyway, he said, name something you know about Prince Harry. And the lady said his brother is William. None of the people surveyed knew about William. None of them mentioned William. None of them answered William. Now, I believe these surveys comes from the audience, and the audience did not seem to have any knowledge of Prince William. They didn't know about him, and they didn't care. So, as a matter of fact, let me play the sound for that. I'll play the sound just in case you all can't find it. I will play the sound. Do I have that one? Nope, but I will very soon.
Answers on the board. Tell me something people know about Prince Harry. He's married to Meghan Markle. Come on, boy. Well, I guess he figured he's married to Meghan Markle. Hey, so Phil, name something people know about Prince Harry.
He's the Prince of England.
He's the Prince of England. Name something people know about Prince Harry.
I don't know much about him, but I hope he got money.
So he got money. Tell me something people know about Prince Harry.
His brother is William.
All right, we got 2 strikes now, Christina. We got to be careful. Collie family can steal. Tell me something people know about Prince Harry.
His mother is Princess Diana.
His mother is Princess Diana. 2 strikes, another family can steal. Tell me something people know about Prince Harry.
His grandmother is Queen Elizabeth.
His grandmother, That's a good answer. Come on, Drake. Tell me something people know about Prince Harry.
He's got some red hair.
He got red. Number 6. Number 5. Top 6 answers on the board. Tell me something.
Okay. So, of course, Steve Harvey made a bit of a face when they said balding, but otherwise, the other answers that were not, needed to win was hottie and balding. But this is what you should take away from this. Harry has built a life away from that family. More people know that he's married to Meghan than know about any connection to the Queen, to William, and whatever else they got wrong. These are the main things that people recognize in Harry. His wife, his mother, his hair color, the fact that obviously he is a prince, he's a hottie, and of course, his struggles with his hairline. Those are the things that people notice the most about him. So when they surveyed that audience for these answers, his connection to Queen Elizabeth was not important, and his brother was not important. And obviously, there was no one who mentioned Charles III. That was not important either. So he's a prince. He could be a prince of some of anything, I guess, for some people, but he has managed to become incredibly popular, mostly on the weight of his personality and his hard work. And it has nothing to do with his brother or his father. So there you go. That I like. That I like. I can live with that. Okay. I am still reeling about this though. I forgot about that. Earthflop got a BAFTA without the proper viewer numbers. Just sheer coercion and favors and somebody like William is so unresponsible with the tools that he has available. He uses it to try to showboat, to try to one up his brother. Not that he really cares so much, but the whole idea is, how will this look to the people in California? That's all he cares about. It's an audience of one. Okay, let's get on with it. And yeah, that's the girl who said his brother is William. Nobody cares about that. Nobody. But anyway, I think her side won. Now, Prince Williams heads to South Africa ahead of Prince of Wales' Super Bowl moment in Cape Town. You guys, are they really doing this again? Do they understand the concept of Super Bowl? Do they know what a Super Bowl is? Who keeps doing this? Who keeps bringing up Super Bowl? How do you manage to put Super Bowl and this Earthshot in the same breath? You don't hear anybody saying, oh, the Invictus Games is just like the Olympics. It's not. It's not. It's closer than Earthflop is to the Super Bowl, I'll tell you that. I would say there's less daylight between the Invictus Games and the Olympics compared to this environmental prize and a football game. How do they keep doing this? Cameron Walker, Prince William's Earthshot Prize has been dubbed his Super Bowl moment. You all said that 2 years ago. And it wasn't true then. It's not true now. And will be held in a eco-dome in Cape Town next week. Again, there is no connection. This is not a sport. It's an environmental prize. And if you take a look on the right, same thing. Kate and William ready for Super Bowl moment with star-studded Earthshot Prize lineup. That one is for Boston. Prince William and Kate will make their first overseas trip since they became the Prince and Princess of Wales later this week. Or should we say, since they nearly lost half the Commonwealth. Huh? Isn't that more accurate? That was their first trip abroad since they nearly lost the Commonwealth. Half of the Commonwealth is either gone or ready to leave since they left Jamaica. So if you are interested in accuracy, I think that's more accurate than, well, anyway, who cares about that? But I'm just saying, they seem to get stuff confused. They don't know what a Super Bowl moment is. A Super Bowl moment is this big crescendo with all of the, oh gosh, never mind. Never mind. Let them say what they want. Lex says it was before Boston. The president of BAFTA became a brief, what is that, communication secretary after Jason Knopf. William made an Earthflop documentary during 2022 and gave himself a BAFTA because Harry and Meghan got the NAACP award. He is so predictable. Will nobody confront this man? Somebody needs to do an intervention. This is so unhealthy. And it doesn't seem to be any limit to how much money they will spend, as in hiring camera crews to make these real slick videos. Oh gosh, I just can't. I can't. This is all so weird and bizarre. And that is playing out publicly, and nobody seems to be bothered by it. At least nobody within the institution. Nobody in the media, of course, is going to call them out. As close as they've come to calling out this behavior was when William was speaking about the genocide. Then, of course, ending the genocide. Then, of course, they were just like, okay, you need to worry about other stuff. And I can't remember which guy that was. And he even mentioned his competition with his brother. That was the only occasion where I've heard someone, actually, I take that back. Professor Tim Wilson actually said that about William and his one-sided war, this competition with Harry and Meghan. It just makes me feel weird. on the stomach. It makes my stomach kind of queasy because this is very stalker-like behavior. Thank you for sharing that. Winston Jones said, "Oh, it's a super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for supporting Royal Sussex." Okay, so again, they need to learn what Super Bowl means, and just stop saying it. It's not true. Just stop saying something that's not true. Sick individual. Sick. Do you hear me? Sick. Just sick individual. Now, let me tell do you know what? I want to stand up for this one because I am getting excited just thinking about this. We're going to take a little walk down memory lane, shall we? Okay. Now, Angelina Stanley, thank you so much for being here. Antoinette Kennedy, I have to confess, I'm not sure exactly how that works. Um, I love her, but is this her first time clapping? Kate and Wills are gently mocked online for their awkward appearance at Boston Celtics game. They went to Boston thinking that they were going to really show Harry and Meghan how it's done, right? Good God, this is worse than watching people in church trying to keep a beat, clapping for the first time. Or how about this one? Proud of Kate for clapping for what appears to be the first time. And then, of course, Kate clapping. And what's the last one? I really do love her, but oh, yeah, that's the same one. It's just so funny. Well, what could I say? Her hair is nice and big, right? She got that. But aside from that, not too much. And I'm not even going to get on that thing about what the guy said about when they said, "Did you see the royal family?" And he's like, "What royal family? You mean Mary, Jesus, and Joseph? That's the only royal family." Ah, wait, let me keep going because I got a few of them. And how about this? William and Kate Middleton are met with boos at the Boston Celtic game. Yes, they got booed, you guys. And of course, Carolyn Kennedy and John Kerry both failed to show up to William and Kate's Earthshot event in Boston amid embarrassing race row in the UK as their first American trip in 8 years gets off to an inauspicious start. Well, if you remember that thing about, no, where are you really from? With Ngozi, what's her name? And of course, Hussey. What was her name? Ma Hussey, whatever her name was. Anyway, that happened. And then when they came over to Boston, oh, you guys, if you are new to the Sussex squad, if you have not paid attention to this stuff, just wait. It gets better. I promise you, it gets better. Okay. Then, of course, the green dress. People looked at her, and some people actually superimposed images using the green screen technology. Um, my favorite is the windsock. The windsock, that thing that you see outside of the gas station or the auto repair shop or whatever, with that big silly grin, the mouth askew, the wonky eye, and well, anyway, that. And how about this? Why Prince William and Kate Middleton were booed on their US tour? The basketball snub occurred just hours after the royal family's latest controversy unfolded on home soil. Lady Susan Hussey, William's, what is she, godmother or whatever? Anyway, y'all know the story. Let me see. Cosmopolitan, even the New York Post, Kate mocked with Prince William and Kate mocked with U.S. chants and boos at Celtic game. How embarrassing for them. And then, of course, as usual, the media went around trying to stir up some type of response from the Bostonians. Now, listen, you all. Boston has a very large Irish American population. So much so that when the Queen went there, I think it was back in 1976, they were afraid for her safety because they thought that it would be just like walking into, I don't know, Northern Ireland, which, by the way, there were quite a few Irish Americans at the time that supported the IRA, right? So scary time for the royals. But this time, people were just satisfied to either ignore them or boo them. So Bostonians take on royal whirlwind visit, whatever, whatever. As breathless online commentary tracked the royal couple's every move during their visit, slaves of their host city remain unimpressed. Of course, they were unimpressed. It was Will and Kate. There's nothing to impress. They are so lacking. Remember, Carol Malone said that you would have to cobble two of them together and you still couldn't have a single personality. They are the most unimpressive people, boring, lackluster. Remember, NBC cut back on coverage of their wedding. They knew on their wedding day that it was off to a bad start. They knew it. So they cut back on the coverage. They were just like, nah, this, I can see where this is going.
Did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one. Thank you.
I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Now you must admit that was rich. That was rich. That was perfect timing. You could not have prepared for that one. You could not have prepared. That was brilliant. I am going to build a shrine to him later. Without even hesitation. Do you mean Jesus, Mary, and Joseph? Woo! William and Kate should be glad that the government does not require them to travel. Kate has the ultimate reason to avoid it. But William, well, he's going to keep at it, and I will be there to cover it. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I thought this was what is that they call it, the silent treatment or whatever," I got some dragging to do. I'm sorry, I don't mean no harm, but I got some dragging to do. So if you all want to do the mute challenge, that's fine. I'm dragging. I have too much fun with it. It's a way to relieve some of the stress of a lot of things, including the way the Sussexes were treated. So I'm going to drag, and then you all can. Okay. Hey, Church Nelly, thank you for joining us tonight. Oh, I promise I will. I am going to do my best. I'm going to make sure that there are tracks of shoes and nails clawing at the soil to break free. I'm going to drag them. Okay. Now, the Boston Herald has reported that the total cost of the visit came in at a cool $170,407.52. Most of these costs went to the extra policing required for a royal visit, totaling 105,000. Oh, so 105,000 was, that was more than half of the cost, huh? And the rest of the money was spent on staging, tents and flowers, lights, etc. for the event. The Prince and Princess of Wales attended. Around $5,000 was spent on security and custodial overtime, and the rest was reportedly made up with the staff costs for the emergency medical services needed. Okay. Well, that wasn't horrible, but I'm just trying to think. How much money do you think the local economy managed to pool from their visit? I mean, you know what I'm saying? How many people traveled from out of town, rented a hotel room, rented a car, purchased a crab meat sandwich or whatever, lobster tail sandwich? How many people did that? 2, 3? Had to be at least 10 people. But aside from that, a big fat nothing burger. And of course, Kate and William's U.S. visit to Boston. Okay, we saw that. Oh, look at there. Some people compared them to Ernie and no, that's Bert and Kermit, not Ernie. Bert and Kermit the Frog. And by the way, that dress was rented. She rented that dress in the spirit of sustainability. Now, Carolyn Kennedy finally showed up, and there she is, dressed like she just went jogging or went to go and pick up some eggs so that she can bake some cookies for the bake sale at school or whatever. As you can see, she didn't go through much trouble. Why bother? Yep, why bother? And here's another little glimpse of the basketball game. You can see the lady next to William is thrilled. As a matter of fact, you can see everybody sitting around them just cannot stop smiling and chatting with them. Actually, there wasn't a lot of that either. I'm telling you, they are the worst when it comes to royal tours. And leave it to the British tabloid media, who pours it best. William and Kate greet Boston by tweeting rain-soaked photos showing their backs 2 years after Harry and Meghan's famous umbrella picture went viral. They have tried several times to recreate the viral moment of Harry and Meghan. And you can see the tweet from Willie Leaks. Boston, what a welcome. You got that right. Looking forward to our time in the city, meeting inspiring communities and showcasing our 15 fantastic Earthshot finalists to the award. Meanwhile, over here, you can see the other side of the story. Isn't this fun, you guys? I started pulling at my receipts and stuff just kept falling out. I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this. Carolyn Kennedy and John Carey both failed to show up to William and Kate's Earthshot event in Boston amid embarrassing race row in the UK as the first American trip in 8 years get off to an okay, we did that. And then down there, what does it say? Similarly, John Kerry, envoy climate, was due to, oh, yes, he was the special envoy for the climate, and even he couldn't be bothered. Oh, wow. He would sadly be no longer be able to. Woo! I love it. I love it. And then, you guys, I was saving this. Watch and enjoy. Cold front. Prince and Princess of Wales bundle up to meet with Reverend who gave lecture about legacy of colonialism and racism at Earthshot launch hours after Palace race row erupted. Now, you see, if Camilla would have apologized, and if Susan Hussey had apologized to Ngozi, is it Falana? Whatever, Ngozi. But if they would have just have apologized, they have yet to apologize to her. And so there they are with egg on their face again. Do you guys remember this? Because I do. And of course, you know, I love to save those big headlines. Breaking news. Consider the legacy of colonialism and racism. Black Reverend chosen to open William and Kate's Earthshot event deliver lecture about racial equality just hours after Palace race scandal triggered by Prince's own godmother. Wow, they made him take ownership of it, didn't they? They made him take ownership. So, you guys, what could I say? This is why I save my receipts, because I never know when I might want to go back to it. Just to take a little walk down memory lane. We don't want them to forget, do we? Woo! I love it. I love it. You tell them, girl. Before she began working for the city of Boston, Reverend White Hammond was an ordained elder in the AME Church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Okay? You don't mess with nobody from the AME Church. It is a very proud tradition at the AME Church. Yeah, so they picked the right one. Sometimes things just work out. And as you know, the Episcopal Church is the Church of England in the U.S. Whenever you see Episcopal, that means they follow all of the stuff that they do in the Church of England, which is why Bishop Curry was selected for the Sussex's wedding. Okay? Prince William and Kate touched down in Boston Wednesday afternoon, having traveled to the U.S. on a commercial flight. You better. You better. They only do commercial flights when it's time to do one of these environmental things. William and Kate heckled by protesters during U.S. tour. Now, see, they didn't make much about this, but that did happen. Most people were welcoming, but others held up anti-monarchy signs. And this happened in Boston. This was in Boston. See there? Prince William and Kate faced protesters heckling them for not being elected during their tour of Boston. I'm going to give them a bell. I'm going to give them a bell. You see, this information would have been lost to the ages, but for a handful of squatties that save everything. Hypocrisy is David Beckham flying private from Qatar to attend environmental award show? You all, David Beckham was dragged all over. And I know they make it seem like David Beckham, They love him in the Daily Mail. They make him seem like everybody loves David Beckham. They do not. They do not. The fact that their documentary did it amazingly well doesn't mean a thing. Not everybody is in love with Sir David Beckham or soon to be Sir David Beckham. Prince William's Earthshot is the fry feast of award shows. The winners were forced to zoom in. That means, of course, the Zoom call. While he and Kate flew from the United Kingdom to the United States, flew David Beckham from Qatar to the United States, and he also received an alleged police escort in Boston and flew other celebrities into Boston from across the United States. David Beckham flew in on a private jet. They paid for his flight. And they also paid him a lot of money to be there, not to mention as a personal favor to William, hoping that someday, with all of this kissing up and bootlicking, that he will become a knight. He wants a knighthood. That's why he keeps doing this stuff. What a punk. Let me see. Football star has been slammed in recent times after signing. Yeah, David Beckham slammed for presenting Environmentalist Award despite representing oil state Qatar. He represents a fossil fuel state. And this little funny cartoon, get it? The Prince of Wales. And of course, the Aerosparus. That's Latin. The Aerosparus. And then let's see, figure 1 is skate. To be found standing in Boston Harbor, the result of inadvertent entanglement in trawling nets, flicks hairs raising. Yeah, flicks hairs raising. Well, yeah, there you go. So there you have Harry and Meghan sipping champagne. They have harpooned a massive whale, a apex predator whale. I mean, some people see an orca and other people see William. I see one and the same. Now that is cold, ain't it? I love it. I love it. Prince William and Kate didn't get the rave reviews they were hoping for in America. British royal family news suggests that it might be a very long time before Prince William and Kate Middleton return to America again. That's because the Prince and Princess of Wales really didn't get the kind of rave reviews they were hoping for during their 3-day visit to Boston. In fact, it seemed like most of America really didn't even care that they were there in the first place. Here's what you need to know. So, with all of the, shall we say, news out of the tabloids that most people don't like Harry and Meghan, they have become so irrelevant and so on and so forth. Time and time again, that has been debunked. That has been debunked time and time again. Harry and Meghan are incredibly popular. The way that people take to Meghan, the excitement that builds. Think about what the guy from Netflix said. He said, I've been around a lot of famous people. He said, but it's a whole nother world, the excitement that surrounds the Duchess of Sussex. It's a whole nother level. And here, he is the guy that's responsible for the programming at Netflix, has negotiated all kind of deals with celebrities, big and small. And yet, when he's out with Meghan, it is so much bigger than the usual celebrity. Okay, it turns into a Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce type of thing. That's about as close as I could get. I'll even give you a Taylor Swift. It turns into a Taylor Swift moment where there's just all of this excitement. Not for those two, though. Not for that riffraff. Kate Middleton's being a special, brings a special accessory to early years meeting, which she debuted at Harvard. Now, Kate made it a point to go to Harvard so she can say, oh, I went to Harvard. And she took a photo with that notebook at Harvard. And she couldn't wait to present it in front of a camera at one of those early years or whatever type of thing it was at the Windsor Castle, I think it was held. A notebook, a simple, basic notebook, a 762 word article about a simple, basic notebook. It's just dawned on me that after the Boston trip, the palace can truthfully state that Kate went to Harvard. I chose to believe that this was the sole purpose. Choose to believe that this was the sole purpose of the whole visit, meaning that it seems like the only reason why she went to Boston was so that she can spend the day at Harvard, so that she can tell people, oh, I went to Harvard. Oh, by the way, this is my notebook from Harvard. You know, ain't nothing in it. Y'all know ain't nothing in that book. Ain't nothing in there but little doodles and little puppy dogs and little tiara sketches and such. Ain't nothing of relevance in that book. There's nothing meaningful in that book. But of course, I am a very fair person, at least I pretend to be. And it wouldn't be fair of me not to reach out to Kensington Palace for comment.
Well, obviously it'd be, I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to, obviously to this day, and going forward and things. It is, it's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and very inspirational. So yeah, I do.
I bet you do, girl. I bet you do. And probably as often as possible. And still, it is quite lackluster, meaningless, bland, boring. Boring. Oh, let me see. William and Kate called and then. Oh, yeah. This is what I wanted to share with you. We've already done the one on the left side. Take a look at the right. After the Caribbean, after Boston, and I do believe, let me see, was this was before William went to New York, I think. But after the massive humiliation that they suffered together, then of course, they briefed the press from Kensington Palace. Kate and William call an end to lengthy royal tours as family comes first for couple. An insider claims that the Welleses will not be leaving the children to look after to be looked after by nannies and will respect school terms in order to spend more time with their three youngsters. In other words, after we have been completely and precisely put in our place by people in the Caribbean, by the people in the United States, after we have been reminded that, oh well, I'll let him do it.
Get a chance to meet with the royal family, and if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one. Thank you.
Yeah, after that type of thing, if I was them, I would never leave that island again. I'd be too embarrassed. They have had the floor mopped with their limp, useless bodies over and over again, and yet they just keep trying. They should just give it up. Well, Kate has, you know that. But William, I think William seems to believe, or he probably blames Kate. And he probably thinks if I go it alone, then we won't have these problems. Well, think again, buddy, because wherever you go, you take you with you. So there's no escaping your own incompetence. And again, in comparison, and I hate to do this, but in comparison to Harry and Meghan, well, you know what? I hate to do it as much as Tessa Dunlap hates to do it. You know what I mean?
Meghan in a Valentino white. Compare, I hate to do this, but compare Meghan in a Valentino white, absolutely wowing the crowds, and dear Kate in that very staid 1940s Amelia Wickstead coat.
Oh, you were really winding me up now. Yeah.
Well, I knew that would upset you, Richard, because I know you're more of a Middleton kind of girl and you like the sort of twin set and pearls 50s look. But all I'm saying is, who's speaking to the future generations, the younger generations? It's Meghan.
Yes, it's Meghan. So there you go. Let me see. How did William ever notice her? Maybe it was the hands, huh? Maybe those hands drew his attention, or could it has? Okay, I'm not going to say that other part, but I'm not going to say the rest of that. I think I've said it too much. Let's move on, shall we? Now, William is doing this whole homeless home thing, the home something. Now, Williams, that's his new kick, is that he wants to change the way. Well, he wants to end homeless once and for all, right? Then he wants to change the way we talk about homeless. And then he has some third thing, because it keeps changing. Anytime William takes on a program, it always is subject to change. Not a quiet change. They have to broadcast it. They will brief the tabloids, and then the tabloids will tell us what he believes is about to happen.
So please do feel free to pile in when you need to. It's a team game. So please do feel free to pile in when you need to. It's a team game. So please do feel free to pile in when you need to. It's a team game. So please do feel free to pile in when you need to. It's a team game. So please do feel free to pile in when you need to.
Now that woman is sitting across from him, and there's some guy to the other side, and he's telling them that it's a team game, not a team effort, but a team game, and feel free to pile in when you need to. So I guess he doesn't have all the answers. The whole idea was that he was going to end homelessness for good, right? Once and for all. It seems like you would have had some answers. But instead of answers, he is telling people, he said it with his own mouth, it's a team game, so feel free. He wants them to tell him what needs to be done so that he could take ownership of it and be the hero. I think that's what he's trying to do. You know, Thomas Edison did not invent most of the stuff that he was able to patent. His patents were actually the result of his scientists, his team of scientists signing away their their scientific findings. So the guy that came up with the tungsten for the light bulb, wasn't he black? He couldn't take out a patent for it because he worked for Thomas Edison. So Thomas Edison wasn't the great inventor, just like Elon Musk is not the founder of Tesla. Bill Gates did not come up with most of Gateway stuff. They were the ones who managed to put everything under one umbrella and have people sign away their achievements. Think about this. Who invented the Frappuccino? Starbucks probably sells billions of dollars worth of Frappuccinos every year. Who invented the Frappuccino? We'll never know, will we? Because it was a couple of employees that had a notion while working at Starbucks, and they started making these blended drinks, and they caught on. And the rest, of course, is history. So William is trying to do a bad impersonation of Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and a whole bunch of other people. He's bringing everybody together so that he can do some busy work and look like he's actually doing something. And at the same time, if there's any profound change, trust and believe he will be the one to take the credit for it. Such a butthole. Anyway, let me continue. It must be the Republic campaign. Charles cuts off Andrew's financial lifeline. King severs his brother's £1 million a year allowance amid row over Royal Lodge. They have a portfolio of properties, and every property has multiple dwellings. Okay? Well, most of them do. They have multiple dwellings. Anne Mahal is on the Sandringham estate. The Queen evicted the family living there to give it to those other two, Willie and Kitty. Andrew has an ironclad lease on that property. But in order to get him out of there, Charles is going to cut off his funding and cut off his security, which means that it's going to force Andrew to try to raise money to maintain the house, I think. But you know why this is happening, right? And you'd be forgiven if you look at this and think this is brand new. Actually, this is an old article that I just happened to save. Every time they talk about how much the royal family cost, every time they need to distract for something, if they're not going after Meghan, if they're not going after Harry, for certain things, that sick old man, Andrew, will do just fine. This has been going on for a long time. A long time. The Queen was still alive when they were talking about Andrew and Royal Lodge. See there? Andrew could cost £7 million compensation from taxpayers if he's forced out of grace and favor £30 million, 31 bedroom Royal Lodge home in Windsor. Leave that sick old man alone. He ain't bothering no. Well, I hope he ain't. But whenever Charles needs to look strong, he starts talking about evicting people. So now that Harry and Meghan are out of Frogmore, now he can complain about Royal Lodge again. It just goes on and on, you guys. That's why I said you could look at any of these and you'd be confused about when the article was written because they're all the same. They're all the same. Just like Tina Turner told Ike, Ike, whether I sing it fast or sing it slow, it all sounds the same. What you say? Whether I sing it fast or I sing it slow, it all sounds the same. Fellas, me and Anna Mae need to talk. It's the same thing. They all sound the same. Different story, different day, same story. Lex says people watch Google the Riot Club, UK Aristo. Oh, what is that? The Riot Club. I got to see that. What is it? I don't know what that is, but thank you for the super chat. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They put her in the back seat. Royals now cost taxpayers $500 million. This is why, with the all of that budget cut and austerity measures and such, and people taking notice of Republic's campaign, the only way they could think of to try to silence the public or at least distract from what's been said is to go after Andrew again. Now, of course, I don't have any sympathy for Andrew, but I do hate hypocrisy. And then, of course, there's this. For the first time, dispatches can reveal the secret millions of royals the royals are earning. For years, they kept the details of some of their wealth a secret, but now we can reveal who is paying them and for what. I thought it was Folsom and Mason because I keep seeing them bags of money, but maybe it's somebody else. But yeah, so that is why there's this new thing with Andrew. I really do doubt Andrew is going to move unless that money means that much to him. But Charles has leaked or briefed. Well, let me go on. I'll show you. Oh, let me play this guy right here. Let me play him. Let me play this guy.
11 literal palaces that we are paying for, whereas there's people that can't afford to even like rent a house. And the housing market's a disaster as it is. We are paying for them to live this luxurious lifestyle where they get all their food and stuff made for them. They get all their clothes handed to them, whereas we're out working horrifically long hours.
One more time.
They live in literal palaces that we are paying for, whereas there's people that can't afford to even like rent a house. And the housing market's a disaster as it is. We are paying for them to live this luxurious lifestyle where they get all their food and stuff made for them. They get all their clothes handed to them, whereas we're out working horrifically long hours.
So there you go. Charles is being very capricious and acting very much like a diva so that he can draw attention away from the $500 million or pounds rather that it costs to maintain that institution. And that is a lot of money. So King Charles officially cuts off Prince Andrew, marking new low in brothers' relationship. Why all of a sudden? Why is it there this big push to get him out of that house? The king has financially cut off brother Prince Andrew after months of urging by advisors, causing their relationship to dip to a new low. The royal pair have been at loggerheads for months as the monarch wanted his younger brother to leave the 30-room Royal Lodge home in Windsor after previously asking him to move into Frogmore. The monarch is ultimately responsible for how the royal household finances and and it was previously reported he could soon struggle to meet. Oh my God, are they serious? He could soon struggle to meet the extraordinary annual upkeep costs of his brother's grade 2 listed property. Charles is going to struggle to meet expenses. Okay, I'm gonna just leave that. I'm just gonna leave that there. They are making a huge amount of money from Balmoral now. They are charging people to enter Buckingham Palace. They're selling jam and whiskey and toast and this and that and the other. They're making a profit. What struggle? The struggle to remain relevant, the struggle to look strong, the struggle to make people think that you actually are worried about how money is being spent. I shouldn't think so. Oh yeah, I've heard that some people were saying that they want to use it to set up Camilla so that Camilla could have a much bigger house after Charles is gone. Bait and switch, huh? Okay. I don't care for Andrew, but if I were him, I would not move. King Charles III would have to come move my stuff himself. Yes, he is unbelievably cruel. If they really cared, they would go after so many other people that are milking that institution. They have courtiers and such. And I don't even get me started with the backstairs billies of the royal family. There are still probably many of them hanging around. Yeah, they're just picking on him. New study reveals impact of Queen's death on nation. Um, Not My King says those who mourn the Queen think the monarchy is important. In other news, okay, that was that. All right, yes, they think she was important. In other news, so this article said that the people that mourned the Queen were more likely to believe that the monarchy was necessary and an integral part of the British people's view of themselves, their feelings about their nation. In other words, their national identity, and that the royal family should never be removed. They should never be undermined or put in their place or stripped of their feudal property holdings and such. Now, according to Graham Smith, the Duchy of Cornwall and the Duchy of Lancaster, even though they want people to believe that that is the personal property of the sovereign and the prince or of Wales, indeed, it is actually a public holding. Now they're getting by using ancient laws that was written at a time when they were trying to subsidize the monarchy, or should I say the Prince of Wales and the sovereign, so that they wouldn't go broke, because a lot of them spent money on gambling and decorating and household additions and stuff. So essentially, the Duchy of Lancaster and the Duchy of Cornwall was a piggy bank for the sovereign and the Prince of Wales. That's all it was. It was a piggy bank. It was a way to generate an endless income so that they would never go broke, making them the landlord, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. They were everything to the properties or the estates. And that's it. They did not have to do anything to earn it. It was given to them. And they have those estate managers that manage those portfolios for them. They're not just property, they are portfolios. They have money invested in places that you could not imagine. And we'll probably never know the true value of either estate. I love this. One of the squatties posted this, and this is just random. The 9 kings of Europe that started World War I, 60 million people died, and a few of them still got to keep their jobs. They were allowed to fail up. And what do they have in common with Donald J. Trump? What do they have in common with any president that we've had so far? Well, except for one, and that's, of course, Barack Obama. Although Barack Obama, he was a president, so there was still controversies that follows every president, and that, of course, is the amount of influence that the United States uses against people in other countries and such. So where that's concerned, just about all presidents are alike. The only honest president that I know of was Jimmy Carter. I said what I said. That's the only one that I know that was truly honest. The rest of them, I might like them, I might vote for them, but it doesn't mean that I think they're the most honest people. So essentially, these are all white men, and everything goes their way, or everything went their way, and they managed to start World War I and sent 60 million peasants to their deaths. Peasants, serfs, indentured servants, 60 million of them went to their death. This was the turning point for Europe. Because some cousins did not get along, Kaiser, king, whoever, because those people didn't get along, that's when World War I started. And who paid the price? Before World War I, the Civil War in the United States was the first time that artillery was used in that way, and meaning, of course, the repeat rifle, which later became known as the machine gun. They were able to cut people down so fast. That was the first time that had been used. I forget what the number was, but there were huge casualties, huge amounts of people that died during the Civil War here in the United States. Lots of people, men that died. Only for something much worse to happen with World War I. That was the first time they used chemical warfare and such. And those 9 people were responsible for that, which is why so many of them were deposed after the war. They're like, we don't need you if you're going to send people to their deaths. So that is a very interesting photo. And looking at it, I tell you, with all of their medals and ribbons and bows and braids and all that kind of stuff, epaulets, you take all of that away from them, they would be some very unimpressive hemophiliacs. All of them carrying that hemophiliac gene. Very unimpressive people. They're not corporate CEOs. They didn't run for elected office. And of course, William will fit in perfectly with these guys. You could just throw William and Charles in there. They'd fit perfectly. It'd be like a hand to the glove. They would fit perfectly. So, President Tinubu reaffirms strong support for Team Nigeria at 2025 Invictus Games in Vancouver. All I got to say is, wear your long johns. Yeah, invest in thermal underwear because it's going to be cold. But they probably know that already. It's going to be just like that Jamaica bobsled team. They're going to be very much out of their element. And the Colombian team too, right? Team Colombia. They're going to be out of their element. And probably a few other teams that I'm not thinking of. And you know what? I've never seen this photo before. But our very own Director of Sports Defense Headquarters, AVM Abdominal Marquise, is the chairman, local organizing committee of the Second African Military Games, famously known to you as the team leader of the Invictus Games, Team Nigeria. All right, cheers. And check this out. The meeting was significant for the international delegation as they got to know the Ukrainian team, those who have fought and continue to fight in the ongoing war. So Prince Harry's Invictus Games Foundation has made its first official visit to Ukraine since they joined the Invictus community of nations in 2017. Now, remember, they were not able to go to Ukraine for obvious reasons, right? So they used loaned a camera and such to capture images. For the first time, representatives from the Invictus Games Foundation visited Ukraine. Here's how it happened. Did I do that one twice? I guess I did. The meeting was the first. The meeting was of the same importance to our participants as they value the world's attention to events in Ukraine and the contributions each of them makes to defend not only our country, but also Europe. Inside an ongoing preparation process for, okay. Next. Got another soundbite for you. Let me take a look here. Did I just miss something? Okay, I guess not. Okay. All right, let me get this going. Now, that is Andy Cohen, messy troublemaker. And that, of course, is, what's her name? Denise Welch. And those other people, I don't really care.
Would she be somebody that you would love to have? Fly a little solo flag off on this show generally as well about Meghan Markle. Would she be somebody that you would love to have on the show? On your Watch What Happens Live? Did you ever ask her about that?
You know what?
I thought you met as a housewife.
Yeah, I did too. I don't think she would do the Housewives. I would love to have her on Lunch with Evans Live. I made a very big error. When she was on Suits, she was a huge Housewives fan. And her people asked us to have her on several times, and we said no. You never know who's going to just been keeping with her.
You've got
the Housewives.
You ought to have me on in case I do become a Duchess. Can you imagine around if there was another Duchess? Oh, she's a Duchess. She's a Duchess.
Prince Andrew dating?
And I'll tell you how much I can't stand up.
It's the wrong thing. Why would you try to figure
Andy, you're known as the man who goes there.
It's loose.
Yeah, he's a perfect fit for loose women. Yeah, so in case you couldn't understand it, it wasn't the best sound quality, but Andy Cohen said that Meghan definitely would not appear. And he's not even going to ask that question at this time. But in the past, apparently Meghan's agent or people or whatever reached out to him while she was on Suits, and she was such a big fan of the Housewives show, but they turned her down. So, but that's okay. There was probably bigger things ahead for Meghan, and thank goodness that didn't happen. Okay. And yes, he did ask Denise, how would you become a Duchess? Are you going to marry Prince Andrew? And she said, I cannot tell you how much I can't stand that man. So, all right, what's next? Oh, you guys, your favorite reporter, Elizabeth Holmes. Is it Elizabeth Holmes, I think? As you can see, she is all dressed up as Queen Elizabeth II for Halloween. That's right. She's another one that bears watching. I think something ain't right with her. But she's all dressed up as QE2. This is where the royal approach to formula uniform dressing really comes in handy. Queen Elizabeth II scarf, pearls, blouse, cardigan, bourbon. Is that the scarf? No. Yeah. No, she already said scarf. What is the bourbon? Is it the jacket? Pleated skirt and loafers. Attempt to find a country backdrop in the midst of nighttime trick-or-treating in LA. We tried. So yeah, she's trying to look like she's in the country, like Queen Elizabeth would often wear that very modest outfit when she would go for walks or tend to the horses or whatever. So yeah, very clever. Yeah, a lot of people are triggered by E. Holmes. A lot of people are triggered by her, but she was invited to go to the Invictus countdown in Canada last time. So Harry and Meghan apparently invited her. So I just say let the Sussexes worry about that because she was invited. The king and queen will visit Italy for a major royal tour next spring, marking the monarch's return to full schedule for 2025. Really? Oh, that's the jacket, right? Thank you very much. Yes, they're going to Italy. You know, that place where Kate Middleton and Prince William were set for a royal visit to Italy in the spring. That was the spring of this year. They could meet Pope Francis in the Vatican. The royal couple will make a short visit to Italy's capital, Italian capital, in the spring, blah, 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 blah. The late Princess Diana, pictured with then Prince Charles in Florence in 1985. Diana's popularity has endured in the European country, and is though Kate and William's visit will, I'm sorry, it's thought that their visit will bolster relations between the two countries. Well, we'll never know because Kate had a scheduled surgery which would have interrupted the trip to Italy, but they said it was scheduled. It wasn't an emergency. There are quite a few people that are skeptical about that account. How could you be planning for a trip to Italy if you know you're having abdominal surgery that you say was scheduled and was not an emergency? Even though we saw a motorcade going from Sandringham Estate to the hospital late one night, and the media has yet to establish what that caravan of vehicles was about. So I'm just saying. Now, I'm going to play this guy. A lot of people are worried of Connie Ballmer. A lot of people are worried about the outcome of the election. It is too soon to relax. However, if you are looking at the tabloids, they are lying to you. They're going to keep saying that this has turned the tide. This is bad news for the Harris campaign. They don't know. So calm the frappuccino down. They do not know. Nobody knows. And even if they do know, it is important, very important, that you go to the poll and cast your vote, because a decisive victory would help eliminate the court challenges that are likely to take place. So we need a decisive victory. We need to send the message. Not only is there a popular vote, but there's also the Electoral College. Now, this guy says, I haven't changed my mind on Kamala Harris winning comfortably, and I'm looking forward to the elaborate explanations from the polling companies on why they failed to predict the results. Okay? He said, if I had to bet, I think Kamala Harris will win comfortably. So let me find that soundbite for you. Okay, which I don't have it. I don't have it. Oh, you know what? I don't think I saved that one. I don't even think I saved that one. But yeah, so his name is Rory Stewart. And Rory Stewart is of the opinion that the vice president will be victorious, and that there's going to be a struggle to explain how the polling companies got it so wrong. Yeah, that is going to be the result, is that they are going to have some splaining to do, a lot of splaining to do. Okay, I found that soundbite. I'm going to share it with you. Give me just a second.
Completely wrong. And making a prediction on the US, I may well be proved completely wrong. And making a prediction on the US elections 3 weeks out is a real way to humiliate myself. But yeah, here it is. If I had to bet, I think Kamala Harris will win comfortably. And the reason for that is I think the polls and the polling companies, their data is no good. Their business model is collapsing, partly because most people are not responding to their polls in the way that they want. And so what they've done is they've got frightened by the fact they failed to predict it in 2016. They've added a percentage to Trump's vote to try to reinforce themselves. And they're sticking together as a herd because none of them want to stick their head up. And none of them want to be like probably what I'll be in 3 weeks' time, somebody who predicted a Kamala Harris victory and got it wrong. So I think the chances are she'll win comfortably, and it'll turn out the reason we didn't predict it is the polling companies didn't have enough of the right kind of data and added too much to Trump's vote.
Okay, the volume was very low on that, but I trust you heard it clearly. And that is something that you have to consider, is that the majority of people do not own a landline phone. The majority of people are not going to bother with those surveys. Now, I used to do a survey all the time, but it got to be a bit of a nuisance because, you know, I was doing these surveys at least on a weekly basis. And I thought it was my civic duty to do that. But eventually I blocked them. But I think for a few years I used to do those surveys. And I was glad to do it. But they cannot get everybody. And then a lot of those young people that you see on television or on social media, Trump, 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 Trump. A lot of them are not registered to vote. And because of circumstances, I hate to say this, but some of them, because of their felony records, some of them with their felony records are ineligible to vote. Okay? There's going to be a lot of people, like college students, that are not registered and did not do their absentee ballot because they were working on their Halloween costume. So a lot of those people, they're either plants, ineligible to vote, or just showing out. So pay no attention. The only poll that matters is election day. I repeat, the only poll that matters is election day. That's it. But I'm inclined to believe what he said is that the polling companies, they're not getting these things right. A lot of it is bad data. And when you're trying to compute something, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. So we'll see. Speaking of garbage, see what I did there? Speaking of garbage, it has been how many years? 8, 9, 10 years since that evil man has gone down that golden escalator, right? And fast forward to 2024, he has gone from the gold escalator to a garbage truck. A garbage truck. And if this man is correct, Rory Stewart, if his prediction is correct, if a lot of people's predictions are correct, we will have seen the last of this man. We will have seen the last of him. I pray to God that we have seen the last of him. I'm so sorry that my aunt passed away, and we'll never know whether or not this monster lost the election. And for that matter, I could think of so many people that have passed away that never knew that Donald Trump had ever been president. There are actually people that I think about, and I'm just like, God, I'm so glad that they didn't have to see this country reduced to this clown. He is just about defeated, but we're not there yet. But defeat is when you can't even put your makeup on right. You see that? That photo is not edited. That is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is exhausted, and I got to give him credit for being 78 years old, is it? And he has been all over the place. Lots of stamina, or whatever they said he uses to keep the momentum going. But whatever the case is, the alleged Adderall or whatever, alleged, he has been pushing really hard, but that's because he doesn't want to go to jail. Because the only thing that'll keep him from getting locked up is winning this election. If the courts will carry through with their threat, with their, there's a strong likelihood for the first time in the history of the United States that a president, a former president, will be incarcerated like a common criminal. This has been a nightmare. And as I spoke of my aunt a few minutes ago, I was on the phone with her when they certified the election, or at least they tried to. And I remember telling her, I said, I don't know what happened. They were counting the votes, and now all of a sudden the feed is gone. Do you have it on your TV? Why did that happen? Because of this monster right here. The peaceful transfer of power has been the bedrock of this country's democracy. And all of that was put at risk. And less than half of the eligible voters in this country would vote for him again. They will ignore the fact that January the 6th happened. January the 6th is the deal breaker. Russian collusion and all that stuff, who cares? But January 6th happened. That should have excluded him from the ability to run for public office ever again. And yet he sits there just as smug and as entitled. So when we say white privilege, this is the best example of white privilege. It doesn't mean that other white people are bad. It doesn't mean any white person is necessarily bad. But what it means is that the worst amongst us in society can get away with things that nobody else could. If those were Black people charging the Capitol, could you imagine the massacre? But they weren't Black people. It was white privilege that came by plane, boat, automobile, by whatever means available to get to Washington, D.C. and storm the Capitol. And only, one shot fired? That's what white privilege is. And what I loved about that moment is that there were a lot of white people that said, if those were Black people, they would have never gotten away with that. And it's true. And this society, even though we don't have an aristocracy, Donald Trump is at the top of the food chain. He's rich, white, and privileged. He's a man. He's at the top of the food chain. And so he can do what most people of color would never have the chance to do, and that is destroy this country. We'd never be given a chance. We wouldn't get that close. He can lie around the clock, and people choose to believe him. Even black people. There's enough black and Latino people that are not comfortable with their ethnicity, I suppose, that will gravitate towards somebody like this. YM Joy says the pick in the vest with his lips puckered looks like he's ready to go to work in one of them houses for Putin. You mean like where he met his one or more of his wives? Thank you, YM Droid. So anyway, you guys, I'm just about done. As a matter of fact, I am pretty much done. But I know this country, the United States, have made so many mistakes. We have so many enemies, and there are so many people that are still suffering because of decisions made from this government, right? But on the other side of that is another story. How a woman from a single parent home could work at McDonald's, put herself through college, become a prosecutor, and then, of course, become an attorney general for the state of California, the biggest and wealthiest state of the 50 states of the United States. An economy so big it could be a country in its own right. The fourth or fifth biggest economy in the world. They have more money than Italy, more wealth than what? Germany or whatever. No, not Germany. Germany's got a lot of money. But you get my point. Well, maybe. No, but you get my point. And it is the most populated state in the United States. And she was the attorney general. And by whatever means it took, she became a United States senator. And then on to the vice presidency. And now, God willing, the first woman to ever be president of the United States. That is a story that could only happen here. That this woman of color, this biracial woman of East Asian, African descent could be president. It just doesn't happen anyplace else. You're not going to find someone that's going to be the head of state for the United Kingdom that isn't born into that family, a blood relative. Be a long time before we get there, if ever. So that's an extraordinary thing in anybody's book. Extraordinary. And with that, I am done. I'm kind of losing my voice. It's too dry in here. So I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. What else? I think that was it. Yep, I think that was it. Well, you know, Adrian, I was looking at, they interviewed this guy earlier, or whenever they did the interview. Somebody I cannot stand was going around the country, has been going around the country, asking people who they're voting for and why. And I'm speaking of Don Lemon. Donatella Limon. Yep, that asshole. Anyway, Donatella Limon asked this guy who he was voting for. He said, "Oh, Trump. Why?" "Well, because, you know," and then he went on to say that that Kamala wasn't qualified and all kind of shady stuff that he said. And of course, he asked him about January 6th, and he said, "Oh, that was just it's based on your." Anyway, he's not going to vote for somebody that is not a white man that will protect him. That's the long and short of it. Is that the right wing movement in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and all the rest of Europe, and of course, there's been one in South and Central America for years, which is why the vice president of Colombia needs all of our prayers and protection she can get, because they don't want that type of diversity. They don't want a Black person to be the face of these institutions of leadership. They don't want that. They're afraid. This guy don't want them to vote for Trump, but he has to because he's afraid. Because he's afraid that his way of life, his privilege, will be taken away. He's afraid of the loss of privilege. And I say shame on the Black people that's voting for Donald Trump, who wants to aid them in taking us back to a time and a place where there was not the level of equality that we have today. They want to take us back. They want to take us back. Every time you hear a Ronald Reagan or George Bush or any of them, Donald Trump, whenever you hear them say, make this nation great again, that's what they mean, to take us back to a time and a place where we know who's the boss, where we will divert our eyes and remove our hats or cross to the other side of the street lest we should cross their path. That's what they want. Yeah, he's, oh my God, ever since he did that thing sitting up there with all of all people, Max, whatever his name is, I was so done with him. I never liked him in the first place because I thought he was rather smug and pretentious. But now I have some real good reasons to dislike him. Very smug, very arrogant. That's Donatella Limon. And had the nerves to dress up like Meghan. And then crap all over Harry's right to tell his story the way he wants to tell it. Don Lemon, who's written all kind of books talking about everything that ever happened to him, he could tell his story, but Harry is not supposed to tell his story. It is yours to tell. If you have a story to tell, it is yours to tell. Connie Balmer, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being here. Happy Saturday to you. And thanks for being a member of Royal Sussex. Oh, good. I'm going to have to look for that. They have You know, even if, and it's not true, but even if what they were saying about Kamala was true, that she locked up some black people, like any black prosecutor, like any black judge, like any black police officer, we all expect you to do your job. But there have been people along the way in her career that have used her positions against her. They have used her career choices against her. Most people that study the law have a passion for the law. And when you are doing your job, when you have helped more people than anybody can calculate, nobody wants to remember that. They want to remember or suspect the worst. She has a way to explain who she is and how she's conducted herself all these years, but they don't want to hear it. They don't want to believe it. They want to see her as the villain and give the real villain a free pass. They would give the real villain a free pass. Anyway, the funeral is tomorrow. Be pretty early, but the funeral is tomorrow. So, like I said, it's too bad my aunt will never know how this election turned out. But I think we're on the right track, and I'm sure, I'm hoping and praying that people will go to the polls and do what they're obligated to do, and that is cast their votes, and that they vote for the right candidate instead of voting for lies or for privilege. Vote for truth, justice, and the American way. Where have I heard that before? So yeah, that's it. Oh, thank you, Miss Z. Oh, thank you, Lydia. Well, you know what? It's been oddly normal for most of us, except for, the urge to make the phone call like, "Oh, I got to talk about this or talk about that." That's where the weirdness comes in. So, um that will never not be weird. So, um but as I've gotten older, the people that I've lost along the way, I always have the feeling that they're still with me, right? I always have that feeling. I never feel like, like they're not there. It's just you can't pick up the phone or go and visit and that kind of stuff. But um so yeah, it's been oddly normal to some extent, and then of course painfully different in other ways. Oh, I got one last thing for you guys. Did you all see Big Deborah? I think this is Little Debbie's mama, Big Deborah. Big Deborah and her snack cakes. The Big Deborah chocolate swirl, the Big Deborah brownie. Big Deborah. I didn't listen. I had no idea that Little Debbie was biracial, but apparently Little Debbie is biracial. Isn't that something? Little Debbie is biracial. Who would have thunk it? I tell you what, though, I think somebody needs to test Big Deborah's blood sugar. Don't you think? She probably needs to test her blood sugar. uh, she needs a little metformin, right? They should just bake the metformin right into the snack cake. Just ground it up and bake it right into the snack cake. And listen, while you're going through all that trouble and putting some metformin in there, let me see, what was that ingredient that they used to put in Coca-Cola? Put some of that in there too. Oh, never mind. You never will get people to shut up. But but put some of that in there too. Put some metformin and baking soda in there. That's what everybody wants anyway, isn't it? Oh, that was really bad. Okay. All right. Love you guys. I will see you all. Thank you, moderators. And don't forget, what is it? Sunday. Sunday is my birthday. Which at this point is, oh my God, tomorrow. Tomorrow. I am going to be that much older. And I didn't tell you guys, but I got yet another senior invitation for this time for Christmas. I got one for Thanksgiving, and now I got one for Christmas. Who do they think they're messing with? I'm not some old person. Yep. Another senior invitation pinned to my door. I haven't done anything to those people. Why are they harassing me? Good night, Adrian. Okay. All right. Okay. And cue the Ginger Avenger.